Before today's documentary begins, a message from our completely fictional sponsor. Are you tired of being slowed down by facts? Exhausted from hearing annoying phrases like, "Do you have a source? Are you sure? Maybe we should look that up." Or the truly offensive, "You were wrong." Then, congratulations. You may be ready to enroll at the Pizzaverse Institute of Unshakable Confidence. At our institute, we believe knowledge is optional, confidence is mandatory, and admitting you were wrong is strictly prohibited after orientation. Our revolutionary program can teach you how to become the smartest person in any room without wasting years doing ridiculous things like studying, reading, listening, or developing expertise. Why spend 30 years mastering a subject when you can watch a 7-minute video and immediately correct professionals in the comment section? With our patented Dunning-Kruger Fast Track program, you'll learn essential skills including advanced conclusion, jumping. Why wait for evidence when your first impression already feels correct? Professional blame redistribution. Was it your decision? Absolutely. Was it your fault? Of course not. Someone else was standing nearby. Case closed. Confirmation bias optimization. Our instructors will personally remove every source from your feed that disagrees with you. Because nothing strengthens an argument like never hearing the other side. Question avoidance technology. Questions create uncertainty. Uncertainty creates thinking. And frankly, nobody signed up for that kind of workload. You'll also receive our exclusive argument emergency kit, including 1 oversized microphone, 3 pre-written insults, a laminated card reading, "Do your own research," and our best-selling pocket guide, How to Change the Subject When Somebody Brings Receipts. But wait, enroll today and we'll include the Never Wrong Home Starter Pack. Perfect for relationships, workplaces, family dinners, live streams, and Facebook arguments with people you haven't spoken to since high school. Simply repeat, "I know what I saw. I heard it somewhere. Everybody knows that." And our premium favorite? Well, that's just your opinion, even when discussing measurable facts. The Pizzaverse Institute of Unshakable Confidence is fully accredited by absolutely nobody. Our faculty includes several people who once skimmed the first paragraph of a Wikipedia article and immediately considered themselves authorities. Possible side effects include interrupting experts, arguing with dictionaries, losing friends, being muted in group chats, and developing the uncontrollable urge to type "actually" under every video on the internet. The Pizzaverse Institute of Unshakable Confidence. Because why improve your thinking when you can simply become louder? Enrollment begins immediately. No application required, no entrance exam, no questions allowed. And remember, at the Pizzaverse Institute, you are never wrong. Reality is simply poorly informed. And now, back to today's documentary.
Disclaimer. The following video is intended for educational, psychological, analytical, and mildly judgmental entertainment purposes only. This is not an IQ test. It is not a clinical diagnosis. And unfortunately, watching all 11 signs does not qualify you for a doctorate in psychology. No matter how confidently you explain the Dunning-Kruger effect in somebody else's comment section, the behaviors discussed in this video are thinking patterns, not permanent labels. Everybody shows some of them occasionally because human beings are complicated creatures running emotional software on prehistoric hardware. Low intelligence should also not be confused with lack of education, poor grades, different communication styles, learning disabilities, cultural differences, or simply having one spectacularly stupid Tuesday. Context matters. People make mistakes. Smart people say dumb things. Dumb decisions can occasionally come from very smart people. And yes, that includes you and me, and definitely whoever is currently typing, "This video is about my ex." The purpose of this documentary is to examine habits such as confirmation bias, poor self-reflection, intellectual rigidity, overconfidence, and the refusal to consider new evidence. It is not permission to diagnose strangers, relatives, coworkers, YouTubers, politicians, neighbors, or the guy arguing with you under a Facebook post from 2017. So, before pointing at somebody else and yelling, "Sign number 6, maybe keep one finger pointed toward the mirror. Because the smartest thing any of us can occasionally say is, "I might be wrong." And if those 3 words physically hurt you, well, you may want to keep watching. A Pizzaverse Studios and Palermo Productions disclaimer. No egos were permanently damaged in the making of this documentary. Several were lightly bruised.
11 Hidden Signs of Low Intelligence. The Psychology of Limited Thinking, Ego, and Self-Awareness. A Pizzaverse Studios documentary. A Palermo Productions original. Written by Bambi Palermo. Produced by Pizzaverse Studios. Narrated by Vincent "Vinny" DiPrio. Intelligence isn't always what you think. Most people think they can spot low intelligence easily. They imagine someone who struggles in school, someone who can't hold a conversation, or someone who makes obvious mistakes. But psychology suggests something more complicated. Limited thinking isn't always loud. It doesn't always announce itself. Some of the most restrictive thinking patterns can look completely normal on the surface. They blend in. They feel justified. They may even feel intelligent to the people who have them. Because intelligence isn't just about what you know. It's also about how you think, how you respond when you're wrong, how you process new information, and how you adapt when life doesn't go the way you expected. And that is where things get interesting. Because sometimes the person who sounds the most certain isn't the person who understands the most. Sometimes confidence is knowledge. Sometimes it's insecurity wearing a very expensive suit. And sometimes it's somebody who watched 2 videos on YouTube and is now prepared to correct a professor with 30 years of experience. In this documentary, we are examining 11 hidden signs of limited thinking that many people overlook, and the psychology behind why these patterns can be so difficult to recognize. These aren't diagnoses. They're not permanent labels. They're habits of thought. And every one of us is capable of falling into them. Let's begin. Sign 1. Refusing to admit when you're wrong. One of the most overlooked signs of limited thinking is the inability to say 3 simple words. I was wrong. On the surface, this can look like confidence. It can look like someone who stands their ground, someone who knows what they believe. But psychologically, something very different may be happening. When a person cannot admit a mistake, their ego may have become more important than finding the truth. Somewhere along the way, being wrong became associated with being weak. Being wrong feels like a threat to their identity. Intellectual humility, the ability to recognize the limits of your own knowledge and reasoning, is associated with more open-minded thinking and a greater willingness to revise beliefs when presented with better evidence. Think about someone who almost never says, "Actually, I think I was wrong about that." No matter how clearly the evidence points in another direction, they double down. They reframe. They deflect. That's not necessarily strength. It's a thinking pattern that can make learning extremely difficult. Growth begins when you can examine your own beliefs honestly. Sign 2. Blaming everyone except yourself. There's a pattern that can appear in nearly every area of life. Relationships, work, finances, friendships. And it follows the same script every time. Something goes wrong, and somehow it is never their fault. The teacher was unfair. The boss was against them. The economy was bad. The people around them let them down. There's always a reason. And that reason always points outward. Psychologists sometimes describe this pattern in terms of an external locus of control, the tendency to perceive outcomes as being largely controlled by outside forces rather than one's own actions. But this is different from recognizing when external factors genuinely matter. Life is not always fair. Circumstances matter. Other people can absolutely affect what happens to us. The sign isn't acknowledging difficulty. The sign is never looking inward. Never asking, what could I have done differently? What was my role in this outcome? Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools available to us. Without it, every failure becomes someone else's problem to fix. And a person who never examines their own decisions has very little opportunity to improve them. Sign 3. Believing only what confirms your opinion. It's called confirmation bias, and it affects everybody. The human mind naturally favors information that supports what it already believes. When we encounter information challenging our existing views, we may become defensive, skeptical, or resistant. What separates stronger reasoning from weaker reasoning isn't the complete absence of bias. Nobody gets that luxury. It's recognizing the bias and attempting to compensate for it. Strong thinkers deliberately consider perspectives that challenge their own. They read opposing arguments. They ask uncomfortable questions. And they sit with the possibility that they may be missing something important. Someone trapped in confirmation bias does the opposite. They gravitate towards sources that already agree with them. They dismiss contradictory evidence without seriously examining it. They mistake familiarity for truth. Someone develops a strong opinion after watching one video that confirms what they already believed. Then someone presents credible research suggesting a more complicated picture. They reject it immediately. Not because they carefully analyzed the research. Because it feels wrong. And feeling right and being right are two very different things. Strong thinkers understand the difference. Sign 4. Talking to look smart instead of listening to learn. People sometimes assume that the smartest person in the room must be the one doing the most talking. But watch carefully during a thoughtful conversation, and you'll often notice something different. Intelligent people frequently ask questions. They pause. They listen before responding. They're curious about what the other person knows, because they understand something fundamental. Other people may have information they don't have yet, but someone operating from a more limited thinking pattern may approach conversations differently. They talk to perform. They focus on how they're coming across rather than on what they might learn. They interrupt. They redirect the conversation toward subjects they already know. They rarely ask genuine follow-up questions. The goal isn't understanding. The goal is impression. And this can be subtle because it may look like engagement. It may look like enthusiasm, but underneath it there may be very little curiosity. Someone who talks only to appear intelligent may accidentally place a ceiling on how much they can learn. Sign 5. Jumping to conclusions without enough evidence. This may be one of the easiest signs to recognize in other people and one of the hardest to recognize in ourselves. It's the habit of deciding before knowing. Someone hears one side of a story and immediately forms a complete picture. Someone misses one phone call and assumes the worst. Someone sees a single behavior and builds an entire judgment of another person's character around it. The human brain moves quickly. It evolved to make fast decisions, and that ability can be extremely useful. But the ability to slow down and recognize when you don't yet have enough information is also an important part of careful reasoning. A careful thinker asks, what else might be true here? What am I not seeing? What would I need to know before reaching a conclusion? A weaker thinking pattern often works in the opposite direction. Decide first. Then search for reasons to justify the decision. The danger isn't simply being wrong. The bigger problem is that once the conclusion has been reached, the person may stop searching for better information. Sign 6. Overestimating your own knowledge. This brings us to one of psychology's most famous concepts, the Dunning-Kruger effect. The concept is often oversimplified online, but the basic idea involves a mismatch between someone's actual ability and their ability to accurately evaluate that ability. In some situations, people with limited knowledge or skill may overestimate how much they understand because they lack some of the knowledge needed to recognize their own mistakes. Meanwhile, greater expertise often brings greater awareness of complexity. The more deeply someone understands a subject, the more likely they are to recognize nuance, uncertainty, exceptions, and the limits of their own knowledge. So the contrast can look something like this. The person who has studied a subject for decades says, based on the available evidence, this appears likely, although there are still uncertainties. The person who read 2 articles last week says, I know exactly what's happening. That's not always simple arrogance. Sometimes it's a gap in self-awareness. A careful thinker asks, how confident should I actually be? What are the limits of what I know? What evidence could change my mind? The dangerous version appears when confidence becomes a substitute for expertise. Sign 7. Never asking questions. Some people assume asking questions signals weakness. If you ask, you're admitting you don't know. And in many social environments, not knowing can feel vulnerable. So the protective response is to stay quiet, nod, and pretend everything already makes sense. But genuinely curious people ask questions constantly, not necessarily because they're confused, because they understand that questions deepen understanding. Children naturally ask endless questions because curiosity is one of the engines of early learning. As people grow older, embarrassment, insecurity, or social pressure can sometimes suppress that instinct. The result can be someone with gaps in their knowledge who never fills those gaps because doing so would require admitting those gaps exist. Real intellectual confidence doesn't require pretending to understand everything. Sometimes the smartest sentences in the room are, "I don't know. Can you explain that? How does that work?" Questions aren't evidence of stupidity. Very often, they're evidence that somebody is actually thinking. Sign 8. Repeating the same mistakes without learning. Every person makes mistakes. That's not a sign of low intelligence. That's a sign of being human. The pattern we're talking about is different. It's making the same fundamental mistake again and again without reflection, adjustment, or any indication that previous experience changed future behavior. It can appear in relationships. The same argument, the same dynamic, the same outcome with different people. It can happen with finances, work habits, social situations, personal decisions. Intelligent adaptation requires a capacity psychologists call metacognition. The ability to think about your own thinking and evaluate your own mental processes. It means stepping back from an experience and asking, what actually happened? Why did it happen? What role did I play? What should I do differently next time? Without that reflective process, experience doesn't automatically become wisdom. Sometimes it just becomes repetition. And without reflection, tomorrow has an annoying habit of looking a hell of a lot like yesterday. Sign 9. Attacking people instead of ideas. This is one of the easiest patterns to observe in public arguments, and one of the most destructive to productive conversation. When someone disagrees with another person's argument, the response can go in two directions. They can engage with the argument itself. They can point out where the reasoning may be incomplete, where the evidence may be weak, or where the conclusion doesn't logically follow. That's intellectual engagement. Or they can attack the person, their motives, their intelligence, their appearance, their background, their character. In logic and rhetoric, attacking someone's character instead of addressing the argument can take the form of an ad hominem fallacy. But there's an important nuance. Not every criticism of someone's credibility or motives is automatically irrelevant. Sometimes credibility genuinely matters. The problem occurs when the personal attack becomes a substitute for answering the argument. If someone's reasoning is wrong, explain why it's wrong. Calling them an idiot doesn't accomplish that. The moment the argument becomes, "You're an idiot," instead of, "Here's why I think your reasoning is flawed," the discussion has usually stopped being about evidence and started becoming about ego. Strong arguments address ideas. Personal insults aren't arguments. Sign 10. Believing your first impression is always correct. First impressions are powerful. The brain forms rapid judgments about people and situations, sometimes within seconds. Fast assessments can be useful, but they're also incomplete. A thoughtful person treats a first impression as a starting point, a hypothesis, not a verdict. They hold the judgment loosely enough that new information can change it. A rigid thinker treats the first impression as the final conclusion. Once the judgment has been formed, everything that follows gets interpreted through that lens. Behavior contradicting the original judgment may be ignored or explained away. Behavior confirming it suddenly feels extremely important. That creates a feedback loop, and it matters. It affects relationships, professional decisions, social judgments, and the way people are treated. The world is far more complicated than any conclusion reached within the first 30 seconds of meeting someone. Thoughtful people understand this. They remain willing to update their assessment. Sign 11. Thinking changing your mind is weakness. We've arrived at the final sign. And in many ways, it connects everything else we've discussed. Some people carry an underlying belief that changing your mind means you lost. If you're truly confident, you hold your position. If you're truly intelligent, you shouldn't need to revise your beliefs. And if you change your view, you've somehow exposed weakness. But that's backwards. Learning requires updating. Every time you discover new information, your understanding of the world changes. Every time you encounter a stronger argument, your position may become more refined. Every time reality contradicts what you expected, you face a choice. Defend the old belief at all costs, or update it. Scientific and intellectual progress depends on that willingness to revise ideas when stronger evidence appears. Changing your mind isn't automatically evidence that your previous thinking was foolish. Sometimes it's evidence that your current thinking is better. Someone who refuses to revise any meaningful belief, regardless of evidence, isn't demonstrating extraordinary consistency. They're demonstrating rigidity. And intellectual growth becomes extremely difficult inside a mind that refuses to update. The smartest person in the room can still be wrong. Before we end, there's one important point to make. These 11 signs are not diagnoses. They're not permanent labels. And they're definitely not a scientific checklist for deciding who is or isn't intelligent. They're patterns of thinking and behavior that can interfere with reasoning, learning, self-awareness, and personal growth. And patterns can change. Every behavior we've discussed can be examined and improved through reflection, curiosity, patience, and a willingness to learn. Genuine intelligence was never about always being right. It was never about having every answer before everybody else. It's about being willing to learn. Being willing to question yourself. Being willing to examine evidence. And sometimes being willing to say, I was wrong about that, now I understand it better. That is what growth actually looks like. Because intelligence isn't proven by how loudly you defend what you already believe. Sometimes it's proven by having enough confidence to admit that the evidence changed your mind. And frankly, if more people learned how to do that, half the internet would be unemployed by Tuesday.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Bambi Palermo and the Pizzaverse for deep dives into psychology, hidden history, organized crime, strange legends, dark fairy tales, old Hollywood, and the stories powerful people would prefer you never examine too closely. Around here, we ask questions. We check the receipts. And occasionally, we lovingly escort a terrible argument out the front door. Stay sharp. Stay skeptical. Stay authentic. And to everybody who watches, comments, shares the documentaries, and keeps showing up for the Pizzaverse, thank you. Especially the real ones who have been here supporting this channel. The stories, Serena and Wukensinch, and everything we're building together. You don't have to agree with every conclusion. In fact, I hope you don't. Think about it. Question it. Challenge it. That's the whole damn point. Thank you to the real ones. I'll see you at the next one. Did you spend years insisting loyalty is everything, only to suddenly remember that prison exists? Have you ever looked at a mountain of evidence and thought, maybe today's the day I become extremely cooperative? Then you need the Omerta memory eraser, the only product scientifically engineered to transform. I swore an oath into, well, let me explain. With one easy application, you'll experience amazing side effects like, those weren't murders. They were business decisions. I was actually the reasonable one. And somehow everyone else was the real problem. Amazing. Listen to these satisfied customers. Michael Franzesi. I used to believe silence was sacred. Then I discovered federal sentencing guidelines. Thanks, Omerta Memory Eraser, TM. Mikey Scars. I couldn't remember where my loyalty went. Then I looked at the plea agreement. Now everything makes perfect sense. Still not convinced? Order today. And we'll include our deluxe narrative rewriter. Simply insert yourself into any story. Press the convenient self-justify button. And watch years of questionable decisions magically become complicated circumstances. It's almost unbelievable. Just don't ask too many follow-up questions. Operators are standing by. Probably. Disclaimer. Omerta Memory Eraser does not erase wiretaps, FBI recordings, sworn testimony, court documents, public records, personal responsibility, or the consequences of criminal behavior. Side effects may include selective memory, excessive rationalization, podcast appearances, autobiography syndrome, and an uncontrollable urge to describe yourself as just being honest now. If your version of events changes more than 4 times in a single interview, consult a historian immediately. Pizzaverse Studios. Because if you're going to rewrite history, someone else is probably going to fact check it.
Give me groceries and booze. Give me FaceTime with my friends. Give me intravenous news. Little drips of CNN. Give me meditation apps. Text me pictures of your dog. Just give me life. Give me peace. Give me noise. Someone give me fucking zen. Someone give me fucking zen.
my grave, just as deep. I got sex on my mind all the time. Fuck, scrolling through the internet, time suck. I've been feeling flat like a pancake. I could use a hug or a handshake. I could use some drugs or a band-aid. Cooped up in a hole, I wanna lose all my control. I wanna just go on a rampage. Give me wisdom, give me teeth. Give me vision, let me see. Give me courage to confess. Every night I text my ex. Give me girls, give me boys. Give me life, give me peace, give me noise. Someone
Give me fucking zen. Someone give me fucking zen. Give me fucking zen. I need something to avoid all of my fears and paranoia. Someone give me fucking zen. Yeah. Give me an appetite, give me hope for the afterlife, or a reason to look past tonight. Give me happiness when I found the fame. Give me music that doesn't all sound the same. Give me something that I could look forward to. Give me humans that I could get closer to. You look down at me, but the next thing you know, it's you with the rent overdue. Give me a little bit of piece of your peace of mind. Give me a piece of yours, you'll get the peace of mind. Give me something to do when there's nothing to do, but when I get it, shit, I'll probably just fuck it up too. Give me 2 steps to the left, give me 1 step to the right. Give me 1 dance with the volume at 10, and someone, anyone, give me fucking zen. Someone give me fucking zen. Give me fucking zen. I need something to avoid all of my fears and paranoia. Someone give me hope for something better. Give me justice for my cries. Tell me we're all in this together, and if we're not, then tell me lies. Give me love, give me Wi-Fi, give me drugs, give me sky high, give me headspace. Set my head straight, cut the dead weight, burn the red tape. Give me the good old days from 7 days ago. Let me go outside again. Give me life, give me peace, give me noise. Someone give me fucking